first panel show, Levy-less.
Yeah, the first
Levy-less
panel
show.
Oh.
Did we ever think it was going to happen? That's the crazy thing.
Look, we all heard murmurings after the Europa League final and stuff, but I never actually thought it would actually happen. And the way it happened, it kind of like it just seemed like it was a very kind of abrupt thing. But look, in terms of the Lewis family, I guess we'll start off with them first. Like, I'll start with you, Brains. Like, do you actually trust what's going on right now? Do you trust what you're hearing in the press and the PR moves that Spurs are putting out, saying they sacked Levy because of sporting merits and they want to put football first and they want to invest into the team? Or do you think it's just like a tactic to sell the club? Like, what's your thoughts behind it all?
You mean, do I trust the Lewis kids? Those sprightly young teenagers. I love how they're like, that's their brand, the Lewis kids. You know, like, just tell everyone we're super young. You know,
They've got like skateboards on their back. Like, how you doing, young fellows?
They're like they're grandparents. They're like, you know, they're old people. Man, it's interesting, isn't it? It's like we're such a crazy fan base that when I heard the news that Levy was out, immediately I was just like, it was from an Arsenal fan, and I was like, yeah. Don't do this to me. Don't try and mess with me like that. Yeah, I'm not, you know. And immediately I kind of thought like, oh, this feels good. And I felt so good for the whole night. But there was a little part of my brain was like, how soon before everyone's going, be careful what you wish for, because maybe he was the guy who was actually doing well, you know, like. So I get what you're saying about like, do we really trust him? Because it's just, why now? You know, that's the thing. You know, it's like, yeah, it does kind of feel a bit. My gut feeling that it feels like this is what you would do if you were going to sell the club, right? Like you come in, you have a good window, you get a good strong manager in, you kind of start making these moves, build a whole PR thing about making this club a great club again. You know, then you get a buyer in while things are kind of on the up. You know, you just won a European trophy. And you kind of get a buyer in now. Like, but I think you wouldn't be able to do that with Daniel Levy, because I think we've had offers before, and he wants it a certain way. He wants to stay there. He still wants to, you know, manage every single thing. So I think this was like it feels to me, a gut feeling is just from seeing things at other companies, like feels like a bit of a power play. It feels like Daniel Levy was really strong at Spurs. You know, and he might have seen that it was like his club, you know. And I think over all the years of them kind of, because for me it doesn't feel like they're going, oh, Levy's not running it right. He's not taking enough risks. He's not buying enough expensive players. You know, like they're not doing that. They're part of that problem. Yeah. You know, haven't we been we're a rich club, but we're a cash poor club, and we've been like that for so long, which is a lot to do with the lack of money from the Lewis family. From Enoch, you know, so I think it's a bit crazy if we think they're going to come in and they're the ones going, let's make Spurs great again. You know what I mean? That's a cool branding, it's a cool slogan from the kids, but I think it's about, you know, getting the image up, you know, bringing Vinay, get rid of the toxic atmosphere. That's one of the first things I think you have to do with a club, is get rid of the idea that fans have this big power, they boo, you know. Clean up the image for a bit, and then sell the club. That's kind of my gut feeling.
I guess time will tell till we ultimately know. But Ariane, like, look, the Lewises have been here for 24 years, the same amount of time that Levy has been here. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you know, Vinay is doing an interview. How many times did he say the Lewis family in that interview? It did remind me a little bit of Morgan Gibbs-White with the Mr. Marinakis thing. Like, do you trust fully what's going on at this moment in time?
No, because, like, I mean, what else were they going to say when they sacked Levy? And are they going to be like, guys, don't worry. It's more the same. Don't worry. Nothing's going to change. Don't get excited yet. Like, they're not going to come out and say that. So they're going to say pretty much, yeah, we want to make this club great again. And they're also not going to come out and say, yeah, by the way, we're about to sell. That weakens their selling position. There's literally no, you know, whatever's happening, this is what they were going to say, right? Maybe, I don't know, maybe Joe Lewis had a vision before his death that, you know, and he's like, oh, you have to invest in Tottenham, that's going to be your, I don't know, maybe, probably not. So, I think I agree with Brains here. It's going to be one of those where they just want to kind of clean up. They want to, really pamper this, like the vision or the atmosphere around Tottenham before they eventually sell. And there's what was it? There's two offers that came in right the day Levy got sacked. Come on, someone like these people know
Yeah.
something. These are billionaires we're talking about. They don't make offers for no reason.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sim,
Yeah.
you also a bit skeptical?
For sure. I think you can only treat this with skepticism, in my opinion, in terms of just taking their word for it, Enoch's word, who have been part of the club for 25 years. All of a sudden, one day, Levy gets ousted, and they've put out a statement saying, we want what the fans want. We just want to win more games and more often. I'm like, that doesn't even sound well prepared. Like, that just sounds like a fan could decide, like, we want to win more games more often. That's your big plan.
That's because Viv is a fan.
I just don't buy it. I mean, for 25 years, they're claiming they've just been hamstrung. They've had no say. Levy's been running everything with all his control, with their blessing. But all of a sudden, after 25 years, everything's changed, and now they want to prioritize sporting achievements, and now that's the main thing that they want to focus on out of nowhere, just overnight. I think Ariane's right. This is what they have to say in the circumstances to make what's happening kind of palatable and to get people off their back and get people saying, Enoch out, Levy out. Stop that whole conversation. You put out this whole persona that we're ousting Levy because we want sporting achievement, which is what we want to hear. They're basically telling us what we want to hear, essentially. Like that, they're basically trying to get us on side so that we don't kick up a fuss for whatever happens in the future, in the near future. We've already got talk, of fans saying, this has happened, so we have to give it time now. We have to be patient. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying that's what they want. That's what they want fans to be saying. They want fans to basically get off their back, don't chat to me for about a couple years, and maybe it'll facilitate a sale. Maybe we'll see what happens over the next couple of years when it comes to transfers and whatever. But that's the whole aim of this. I'm not saying they got rid of Levy for that. I'm just saying they got rid of Levy and they're putting it in this PR spin of, I don't know, for the reasons why they got rid of Levy, I don't know. There's probably ulterior motives. I think.
I give you about a top 100
what?
reasons of.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. I'm just saying there's probably a lot of ulterior motives. I doubt their main reason is because they want sporting achievement. I just highly doubt that.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Reasons why we would get rid of Levy, and the
top
reasons why
100
they
reasons
would
why we would.
Yeah, the reason why they would get rid of Levy is probably something completely
But
different.
don't you think that's a massive thing though? When a whole say you're in sporting entertainment and you're filling out a stadium every week and it's getting bigger sounds of get out of our club. If you're the people above Levy, I'm going, why have you nurtured this hate? Get rid of this guy, because hate around a club is not good for business in any way. It's not good for endorsements, sponsors. The amount of times last couple of seasons on Match of the Day and live games, Super Sunday, the big games that get watched by millions and millions, that you would hear, get Levy out of our club.
And banners, you see banners and everything.
He works at your company. I mean, that is so bad for business. So it could be what's that? Arkham's Razor is. It could just be he's built such a negative vibe at a club for so long that it's kind of stopping doing that. If you don't get sponsors and investment, then the core investor has to put money in or find ways of getting money. And he is harboring the club, which is
you're breaking up here, Brains.
We're losing you there for a second, Brains.
Have you lost me? Well, lost me.
Maybe try.
Yeah, just basically maybe he's a problem, and you
Yeah, I get.
That's why you started talking about selling tickets.
I get what you're saying.
Maybe
Brains.
try just quickly, Brains. Maybe try reconnecting because you're frozen. So
you get the gist of what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying you're frozen your picture, so maybe try reconnecting. Go on, Ariane. Go on. What are you saying?
No, I said I get what he's saying, but the reality is, however poor for business it is, the revenues keep going up at this football club, and he keeps lining the pockets of the Lewis family and himself. So, however bad for business you think it is, the actual business side of this football club is flourishing and has been flourishing and will be flourishing and keeps continuing to be flourishing. So when you're talking about it being bad for business, it's not actually that bad for business, because the sponsorships keep coming in. The bums keeps getting filled. The seats keep getting filled with people's bums.
Stuck the landing, man.
And business has never been better at Tottenham Hotspur. So if the Lewis family just care about bringing in revenue and money, then surely they would have kept Levy.
Look, I understand that way of thinking. I don't know what their reason is for getting rid of Levy. It might not be for a reason that's in the public domain. I just think there definitely is an ulterior motive here. I don't know what it is. It's hard for me to say, but I don't believe that after 25 years at the club, how they've endorsed Levy's way of running. Levy's run it in their name, essentially. And all of a sudden, overnight, they're like, actually, we want sporting achievement, and we're ousting Levy because he hasn't achieved that. And that's the way we want to move forward. And we're going to go in a completely new direction. I just don't buy it. I think there's an ulterior motive. I think there's something else going on. And I think it'll probably hit the news at some point. I just don't believe that they're just all of a sudden, oh, we're the biggest Tottenham fans in the world. We're actually the biggest Tottenham fans you've ever seen, and we just want to win more games. Like, I'm sorry, it just stinks. It stinks of something. Yeah, it stinks of BS. That's what it stinks of. But look, if it is true, fantastic. I'm delighted. I'm all for it.
It's just so unlikely.
Yeah, I think we're only right to treat this whole thing with a lot of skepticism. I think that's the only right to do that, because of ENIC have been a big contributor, the contributor in the last 25 years into how this club's been run, in terms of they haven't pumped any money themselves into the club. There's been no investment. I know there's talk of it coming, but there hasn't been for 25 years. They could have, if they really wanted to. Lewis Fond family.
$150 million war chest that they
150, yeah, there was 150 million.
We saw 50 million of it.
Exactly. When you compare that to the other chairman in the league, I think it's one of the lowest, if not the lowest. So all of, they could have invested down before. Yeah. So I think, and I'm very skeptical when corporations like this, they just tell you what you want to hear. They're just saying things. Yeah. That exactly what you it's kind of too good to be true, this whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, oh, all of a sudden they want sport. They're going to concentrate on the sport, and they're going to invest loads of money, and that's going to be the number one priority. And that's all Tottenham fans want to hear. That's all they wanted. We're going to get rid of Levy, and that's all that. You got to be skeptical of it.
Yeah. When anyone tells you something you want to hear, is probably the person you don't really want to believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The reality is, we know what ENIC are. We know who they are. They're an investment company. They buy cheap, they sell high, and they will sell. They will sell at some point, but the question is, are they going to sell in the next year, next 2 years, next 3 years? What does the timeline in between that look like? Are they going to follow through in what they say that they're going to do? Are they going to invest in the club? Are they going to make Tottenham great again, as you will? So I think there's so many questions, and it's just impossible to know. It's just about how we're personally feeling about it. I'm personally feeling great about it, because I think Levy has been holding this club back for a while, and I'm ready to roll the dice and just to see what that looks like.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree as well.
I agree.
All right, we can end that topic then, if everyone agrees.
Move on! Everybody agrees.
Someone argue about it, come on.
Well, I tried to play devil's advocate.
You could argue, is it Levy holding his back or ENIC, I guess?
Time will tell, won't it?
I'm just saying, Levy.
All right, move on then.
Levy only works with the money he gets from ENIC or the money he raises.
You could say that, but how many times, we saw this window, right? It's like this very window that just moved on, which is kind of funny, because I think we ended up being one of our better windows in recent memory, if not the best. But this window, we got embarrassed. So, maybe in terms of performance, you could look at that. I don't know if they're looking at that and they're like, oh, you only brought in Xavi Simmons. You didn't bring in a center back. You didn't bring in a winger. But at the same time, like they're like, you really messed up like three or four main like midfield targets before you ended up with Simmons. Like you lucked out with Simmons, because Chelsea happened to faff around for once, or like a center back. How we were in for a center back for how long, and then you didn't even end up getting a center back, or like something like that. Same thing with a winger. I mean, I'm not saying that look, it's because it's not like he's not left the squad at like it's still wanting before, but I mean this window we really really got embarrassed in the market a couple of times, and no one wants to negotiate with us. At some point, that's going to start costing us more money. You know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that might have been a key thing
the
about it.
devil's advocate of it being like if you just look at the top four and some of the income that like a Liverpool made last year, like it's different. And if you did just have ambition, you did just push, maybe you are looking at it like serious amounts of money that this club could be making. We're making
Yeah.
good money, but we're not really at the top.
We still
So
a
that's
gap
just
there.
devil's advocate. They could be making way more, and when you're greedy billionaires, you want more billions.
Yeah.
Talking of the squad, like Ariane just mentioned, how are we thinking about the squad going into this season? Because in my opinion, there are still a few holes there. Like Ariane mentioned, centre back and maybe a hybrid fullback that we could have brought in. Left winger, I think the quality there is maybe left wanting a little bit. But Ariane, how are you looking at the makeup of the squad right now? Are you happy going into the season?
I think overall it's definitely more positive than recently because we've had some really bad squads in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's in one way I feel like it is like good, especially if once Kulusevski and Madison do come back. Hopefully, well, Madison's not for the season, but what I'm saying, like when they end up coming back, Simmons is probably going to do a very good job on the left. But for this season, for the next 4 months, where we knew we're gonna have no Kulusevski and Madison for 4 months, and then no Madison for like 8 or 7, something like that. I think not getting in the left winger, and I understand Colomani can play left winger. He played 3 games there last season, by the way. Like I understand he can, but I can do a backflip. Okay, like that doesn't,
Can you
give me
though?
enough give me enough
Let's
tries. I'll
see it.
probably land one, right? I'm gonna need a lot of protection, but
All
like
right,
what
we're
I'm
here
saying,
all day, Ariane.
like
We're here all
I
day.
could do it. You probably could, but like it's not convincing, right? The signings themselves, I will say, I prefer this, than like the buy cheap, buy twice thing we always do. With like the Matt Doherty's, the Bergwines of this world. So it's better that I think I like everyone we signed, player for player. I think Simmons is quality. I think Colomwani's quality. I think Kudus is quality. I like that. I think Palini has been very good, but also at the same time, we had one permanent signing going into August like 25th. So like the window wasn't great, even though we saved it a little bit. And we still have, I think that left wing hole is just so massive. Like, I don't want to come here and like dog on Matisse Tell. I already know he gets a lot of it. Wilson Odobert. I love Johnson, but like we don't have anybody. Like the gap between Kudus and whoever the hell is playing on the left is so massive. And I think like we saw the on against Bournemouth where we got completely just dominated. Do you think they would have defended us as well if they had any ounce of fear about what could happen on the left hand side? They had no worries about that left hand side of the pitch. They just put two on Kudus and called it a day, and it worked because Johnson was petrified of the ball. And we don't have anybody that, again, maybe when Kulusevski comes back, you can put Simmons there. But then also, this guy's been out injured for 5, 6 months at this point. I think that's gonna bite us, until hopefully January. Maybe we'll remedy it. But it's a lot of negativity. I think again overall we have I think we're good enough definitely to push for that fifth spot, get that Champions League place. I think this is definitely we can definitely compete. Unfortunately, I think we're going to be making up the numbers in a lot of the competitions just because we don't have the edge yet. But if all this stuff about the investment is true, maybe if in January and the summer, we'll get there.
Yeah, so I mean, you don't believe that we're ready to compete on all fronts, which was the reason we sacked Ange Postecoglou and brought in Thomas Frank. That was one of the reasons we were led to believe we wanted a manager that can fight on all four fronts. Do you believe, Sim, that we could be ready to fight on all four fronts with the squad that we got?
Again, I've had this conversation. I don't know what that means. I don't know what the definition of fighting on all fronts means, but
Fighting on all fronts means competing in every competition.
what, competing to win?
Well, you want to compete to win the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, a deep run in the Champions League, and to finish in the top 5 in the Premier League.
Yeah, I don't think we can do that with this squad. I think we could probably win a domestic cup and compete for top 5. I don't think adding in a deep run in the Champions League is probably realistic, considering the lack of. Look, if you're adding in domestic cup and Champions League, I think it's going to be difficult to do all of that. I really do, and I think we are probably going to go out in the Champions League round of 16 or 32 or whatever it is, to be honest. So I don't know if that fulfills everyone's definition of competing in all competitions, but I mean, I think everyone would take a domestic cup and a 5th place or 6th place finish. I think that'd be a pretty decent season. Yeah. I think the squad isn't quite strong enough to battle on every front, to be honest. Especially now we are in the Champions League. I think there's too many quality gaps and also just holes in terms of backup left back. I think also, like, if a Paulinho gets injured, we don't really have someone to replace him properly. Simmons at the moment, we're kind of very heavily reliant on him, and left wing, where there is very much a work in progress on that side as well. So that's all the negative, but I do think there's a lot of potential and a lot because I think we focus way too much on the negative sometimes when we talk about these things, because we talk about what we're missing, we don't talk about what we have. And what we do have is a very good back line, I think, in my opinion, when they're all fit. And hopefully, look, maybe if we could have solved those problems, and hopefully we get a stable back line going into the season. And you've got good options with Spence and the doggy there. You obviously Porros plays a lot. And when you've got Romero van der Ven playing and then Danso covering, I think it's good. Obviously, we'll see what happens with Dragoshin and Takai when they come in. At the moment, it's very much up in the air how much we can rely on them. But, you know, I think Dragoshin maybe under Frank could be a bit better when he's back. Takai, we don't know. I think in midfield, I think every option is good. I think we're probably missing someone who's just like a very elite passer of the ball. We don't really have that. But I think when you look at Bentancur, Paulinho, Sarr, Bergvall, who else am I missing? Well, Basuma's still there at the moment. We'll see if he leaves. But and then obviously Xavi Simons, and then we'll see if when Ndeki comes back. I think all of them are very good options.
Yeah.
All of them. I think midfield, I think we've got very good options there and good depth. I think maybe down the line, there's still maybe some issues you can address when it comes to proper someone who can dictate a game, someone who's a deep line playmaker. We just don't really have that. You know, someone who can sit deep and spray passes left and right. But that's down the line. It doesn't mean we can't be successful in the short term without that kind of profile. Frank can make it work. So I think that's good. I think up front, for me, we've got 3 good options: Solanke, Richarlison and Moani. I like those options. I think if you're looking on the upside, Moani has a good goal-scoring record pretty much wherever he's been. He's versatile, he's fast, he's a striker with a different kind of profile, can run in behind. We don't really have that. Can play off the wing as well. As a dribbler, runs at his man, can strike fear in defenders, so that's really good. Obviously, Rishi is in good form at the moment. And then Solanke is that kind of a player who you want maybe when you want to press the shit out of the opposition and have a striker hold the ball up. So I think 3 very different and very good options who are all capable of scoring goals. And then on the wing, we've signed Kudus. We got Johnson who scores goals. Obviously, Moani can probably fill in there. And then we'll have to wait and see what happens with Tell and Odebear. At the moment, they're young and they've still got a lot to prove. But I think also there are 2 players who could at any moment maybe explode and maybe start performing well and maybe show the potential that I think they both have. So I think there's a lot of positives and a lot of reasons to be excited. And I think, look, it could go one way or the other. I mean, I think we're all look back at last season where things just went horribly wrong. We got so many injuries and we're relying on so many different players out of position. Oh, I didn't even mention Gray as well in midfield. He's also another option. we were last season. I think everything that could go wrong did go wrong when it came to the problems in the squad, right? So, like, we had a problem. You know, we don't have a backup left back to a Dougie. Oh, he's out for 3 months. We don't really have a replacement for Van de Ven and Romero. Oh, they're both out for 4 months. Like, everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
Yeah.
You know, so I think we're all looking at the squad now, thinking any hole that we have, it's going to get exploited. You know what I mean? It's gonna turn out for the worst, because that's what's happened last season. So hopefully that doesn't happen, and maybe the most vulnerable elements of the squad don't get exposed as brutally as they did last season, and we can maybe cover them a bit better. But that's obviously a wait and see job. I think right now, I look at the squad and I'm excited about it. I think there's a lot to be excited about. I think we can definitely compete at 5th place. And I think if a few things go in our way, like Gray, Bergvall, Tel Nodwed really developing in certain ways and really showing what they're capable of, I think this squad could even surprise a few people.
What do you mean by that?
Maybe push even further up.
Top 4?
If they fulfill their potential, yeah.
Surprise people by not being 17th.
Exactly. Or maybe, you know, yeah, we'll go
17th to 5th. If we could do that.
Well, look, Forest nearly did it, didn't they? They finished 7th in the end,
yeah.
but they only didn't because they bottled it near the end. But they were 3rd for a lot of the season. You know what I mean? It's
true.
not, and you know, they got probably a smaller squad than we do. So look, it's possible. It is possible.